Hello everyone. So I'm going to throw together some bread real quick. I'm just going to show you how I make the dough. It's a total of 8 cups. So first thing I'm going to put in is 4 cups. Should have had all this measured. Been a lot easier. Sometimes I need the full 8 cups, sometimes I don't. Okay. To that, I'm going to add, hold on one second. Okay, so I forgot to turn it back on, but there's 3 cups of hot water from the sink to where I could put my arm underneath it, and it's hot, but not burning hot. Okay, in that, I'm going to add, about 1/3 of a cup of sugar into the water. You can add more, you can add less, you can take it out. It's up to you. This is how I like to do mine. Alright. Now, before I get this wet, I want to add in here, I'm going to add, this is kosher salt, and I am going to add a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons and a half of salt. Okay. To this water, I've added the lemon. I'm going to add 3 heaping, actually I'm going to do about 3½ tablespoons of yeast. It can be any kind of yeast you use. And then I'm going to add olive oil, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. This will make approximately 2 big loaves or 3 loaves. Okay. To this mix, I'm also going to add in some of my sourdough. Before I do that, I want to take this off and whisk my salt into that flour before I forget. Okay. This is sat on the counter. It smells and looks wonderful. Look at all the bubbles. We're just going to stir it down. Now, I fed it 2 days ago. Some sugar. I fed it some flour, and I ran out of milk, so I used a little bit of milk that I had left and a little bit of coffee creamer. Yeah, it didn't phase it one bit. So that looks good. I am going to add about ½ cup of this wonderful sourdough starter to the mix. Actually, I think I'm going to do a ½ cup per dough. That way there, it gives it that yummy, yummy taste that we love. But yeah, it's going to have the texture of a white bread, but the flavor of a sourdough bread. It's really good. Boys. So, hey. Now, you don't have to add see how the yeast is already kicking in? You don't have to do the yeast in with this. I do. I always do the sourdough mix in with the yeast because it kind of helps. It gives it a little kick so that it rises faster for me. I'm going to stir this up. Make sure that yeast is all incorporated in there. And then we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back to you. Because I want to make sure it's good and puffy, which I know it's going to be, but You just want to let it to sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And let it start bubbling, and once it does, then we'll add that in with the 4 cups of flour that and the salt over here, and then we'll get working on our bread. I am going to add the zest of 1 lemon to the dry flour while you're off. Okay, be back in a few. Okay, so sorry about the phone call. I added 1 more cup of flour, and then I just added another one, so that will be a total of 7 cups. Possibly. That'll be, yeah, 7 cups. And some of them weren't full. So now what we want that to do is, see, it takes a minute for that flour to absorb all the moisture. So see how it's starting to pull away? That's what we want. But we don't want to add too much flour because it'll make it tough. Oh, and if we had smell-o-vision, yum, yum. I am going to add, it looks like, another cup of flour. I'm going to start with a 1/2 cup first. See how that rolls? My KitchenAid's been acting up. It shuts down when I'm making bread, so very disappointed because this is a professional KitchenAid. I paid extra money for it because I do make breads and doughs, you know, all that kind of stuff, crust and all that, like you should with a KitchenAid. Okay, see how now that's pulling away like it is? That's enough flour. I'm gonna try to get that to where I can reach underneath with my spatula and pull that flour up into the dough so that, wipe that flour off there, because we don't want raw flour in there. We just want it all incorporated beautifully. See where the raw flour is? We don't want that, do we? So I'm just going to keep working with it. I made this the other day by hand with that flour pedal thing. Oh Lord, that was a lot of work. And I ain't got the strength today to do it, so I'm just reaching down in there with my hand to grab the flour and kind of pulling it through the KitchenAid. Drop it would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? Get some flour on my hand. See, it is sticky though. You don't want sticky dough. But yeah, there was a lot of flour that wasn't incorporated in it. And today it's cool, but it's muggy. Explain that. I live in Michigan, so let's get this flour dough off me. Quick rinse my hands behind you. And I'm kind of letting that flour absorb some of that water. There we go. And as you can tell, I do not, when you make flour or bread, it goes all over. All right, let's pull that up. Can you still see good? No. There we go. That's a little better for you. I'm going to add a little bit more flour. Now I'm going to use my 1/4 of a cup and start tapping it in. Just because it's really sticky. I need it to get it attached there. There we go. I'm doing this so that you guys can see how I make my dough. Now from here on, I just let it rise. Then I separate it into 3 loaves. I use olive oil on my container. On my table, I use no more flour after this. Then I cut it up, roll it up, cut it up, let it do another rise, and I bake it. This is just showing you how to make simple bread. That you can add herbs, or like how I did the sourdough. You can add anything into this mixture. See how the bottom isn't quite... So far this could be 3/4 of a cup I've added. Okay, push it in. Look at that. That's nice dough right there. So I'm going to let it knead for probably about another 5-6 minutes. And then I'll let it rise, and I'll do it like how you normally do bread. So this is how I make my bread. And if you can see, it's pulled away from the side really well. And that's it. People asked how I did it. Well, that's how I did it. You can make, I am going to take a little bit of flour. You can use, make pot pies with this. You can make anything, not pot pies. I use this, and then I'll roll it out and put it in a bowl. And then I'll put my like shredded beef and corn on the cob and diced potatoes, diced carrots, a little bit of peas, and a little bit of gravy. And then I'll take the bottom of the dough and flip it up over into the top of the bowl. Then I'll flip that out and put it on a cookie sheet and let it rise. So it's like a meal inside of a bread bowl. It's wonderful. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. You have a great day, and big hugs from my pantry to yours.